Anxiety, increasingly present in our daily lives, is a topic that many of us face in various ways. It's not hard to notice that, as a society, we are going through a phase in which the feeling of emptiness and internal discomfort is on the rise. We live in a world that, while offering us an almost endless amount of external compensatory possibilities, consumption, status, social media, ends up being a field where the search for filling a deep void seems endless. And, indeed, external pursuits will never be able to heal what lies within us. Modern man, as Jung observes so clearly, is someone who suffers from an inner emptiness. And it is this emptiness that constantly drives him to look for a solution outside of himself. This is one of the great paradoxes of our age. The more we try to solve our problems through external things, the more we increase our sense of disconnection. It's as if, deep down, we know the answer lies within us, but we insist on searching outside. Jung, with his vast understanding of the human psyche, brought a unique perspective on how we deal with our internal conflicts, how we distance ourselves from our true essence, and consequently, how we fuel our anxiety. When speaking about human suffering and emotional disorders, he observed that anxiety is often fed by undeniable external factors. And, of course, social media is a prime example. Today, it's impossible not to notice how these platforms create a culture of relentless comparison, where each post seems like a showcase of ideal lives, of achievements that seem unattainable. This generates a constant feeling of inferiority. What we see on social media is not reality, but an idealized version of someone's life, a distorted reflection that makes us question our own lives and makes us believe that we are always behind. Beyond social media, we are exposed to a continuous flow of information, mainly bad news. From political crises to natural disasters, from economic issues to international conflicts, we live in a constant state of uncertainty about the future. We don't know what awaits us, and this naturally fuels our anxiety. The feeling that the world is in constant crisis, that we are at the mercy of something beyond our control, creates a constant sense of anguish and a fear of what's to come. And most of the time, this anguish is tied to the unpredictability of life, the fact that we have no control over the future. Not knowing what's ahead is one of the biggest sources of anxiety. Economic crises, with their fluctuations and periods of instability, also play a role in this equation. The overload of financial information, the pressure to succeed or achieve the stability that others reach, the comparison with those who are in a better financial position, all of this generates anxiety related to our role in the world and our survival in an increasingly competitive and volatile society. And this is compounded by unpredictable global events, like pandemics, wars, and geopolitical tensions, which further amplify our sense of powerlessness. What happens, then, is that we find ourselves living with a collective anxiety, an anguish that is not just individual but reflected in society as a whole. The struggle to find inner balance seems increasingly difficult in such a volatile and unpredictable world. These external factors undoubtedly form a complex web of influences that fuel our anxiety. However, Jung always reminded us that we need to look beyond the external world to understand the deeper roots of our emotional conflicts. What we often neglect, and what he emphasized, is that the inner world plays a central role in the emergence of anxiety. Our own thoughts, the perceptions we cultivate, and the mental patterns we follow can be the main sources of this internal unrest. Jung believed that anxiety did not only come from external factors, but also from a disconnection between who we truly are and what we are living. This disconnection is what fuels many of our emotional disorders. He observed that when we are not in tune with our inner truth, when our actions do not reflect our deepest values or authentic needs, we create a space of suffering. Imagine someone who, throughout their life, chooses a profession or lifestyle based on external expectations, whether from family, society, or friends. They may even be successful in what they do, but if it doesn't align with what they truly want, internal discomfort will be inevitable. This lack of alignment between what the person truly wants and what they are living creates tension that gradually transforms into anxiety. When we are not living according to our inner truth, anxiety emerges as a way to show us that we are out of sync with ourselves. The pursuit of what truly makes sense to us and makes us happy becomes an essential process to avoid this tension, turning into greater suffering. However, there is an important point that Jung always highlighted. Anxiety can be a symptom, but it can also be an opportunity. When we are anxious, it's as if our unconscious is trying to alert us to something we need to change in our lives. And what many of us do is try to immediately alleviate this anxiety through medication, distractions, or by trying to escape the pain. The problem is that by doing so, we are only suppressing the symptom without addressing the real cause of our anxiety. Jung suggested that, instead of simply masking symptoms with medication or distractions, we should seek to understand what anxiety is trying to tell us. For him, emotional disorders like anxiety are a way for the unconscious to draw our attention to the need for change. Neurosis, in his view, was not a simple flaw or something to be eradicated, but rather a sign that something within us needed to be reevaluated. When we allow ourselves to explore these internal tensions and understand their origin, we can not only alleviate anxiety, but also grow personally. True healing, according to Jung, doesn't come from escaping but from facing it. When reflecting on the factors that fuel our anxiety, Jung invited us to look at the internal conflicts present in our everyday lives. For him, neurosis was not only a reflection of past traumas, but was often related to current dilemmas and tensions. When we distance ourselves from our essence, whether because we are not living according to our values or because we are ignoring our own desires, we create fertile ground for emotional disorders to emerge. This happens because these internal contradictions accumulate and eventually manifest physically and emotionally. Jung also made a point to emphasize that the challenges we face throughout life, no matter how painful they may be, play a fundamental role in our growth. He believed that our lives are made up of essential tasks, challenges that arise from our own nature and the cultural context in which we live. These challenges, like the need to achieve psychological independence, to seek meaning and purpose in life, to face death, and to free ourselves from external expectations, are inevitable but also essential for our personal development. When we don't deal with these challenges, when we ignore these vital tasks, we begin to distance ourselves from our inner truth and create a space of suffering. Jung spoke of internal inertia as a major obstacle to growth. Apathy and fear of facing life's demands are the main reasons many people become trapped in a cycle of anxiety. If we don't allow ourselves to grow, if we don't face the challenges of life with courage, we end up creating a life disconnected from our essence. And this, in turn, generates constant anxiety. The key, then, is to realize that the challenges of life are not just obstacles, but opportunities for evolution. Instead of resisting them, we can choose to face them with courage, knowing that by overcoming them, we get closer to who we truly are. And this is the invitation Jung gives us. Suffering and anxiety are not signs of weakness, but rather that we are being called to grow, to evolve, and to seek a more authentic life aligned with our true essence. Therefore, instead of just trying to alleviate anxiety, we can start questioning what it's trying to teach us. Perhaps the answer isn't to escape, but to move closer to what we really need. And by doing this, we can not only find relief from anxiety, but also achieve a state of greater balance and inner peace. I know this isn't easy, but the truth is, if we start looking inward and listening to what our unconscious has to say, we can find the key to our personal growth. Anxiety, when viewed from this perspective, ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally, an opportunity for transformation. Life, with its challenges, can be a tough road, but it can also be a journey of self-discovery and healing. If you identified with this, or if you've gone through moments of anxiety and felt that something needed to change, I want to invite you to reflect on your life. Where have you distanced yourself from your truth? What is your anxiety trying to show you? By allowing yourself to listen to these signals, you can begin walking toward your true self, finding not only relief but also a greater purpose in your life. I'm glad you stayed with me until the end, and I hope this reflection has been helpful to you. If you have something to share or would like to talk more about this topic, feel free to leave a comment. Let's continue this journey of self-discovery together. Until next time,